Dear Nigerians, this is Mr. Retson Tedheke. I am the convener, if you put it that way, of the Nigerian Farmers Group, which is now also a cooperative society. This morning, or today, we're going to talk about agricultural development as a tool for economic nationalism that is necessary to drive real growth. Not fake growth, but real growth. You can criticize the president for being politically naive, and he could be right. You can say that he's not been as forceful as he should be with regards to playing politics, and you'll be correct. But that is a topic for another day. Today, the main issue I want us to think about or feel or discuss is agriculture. It's the push by this current administration to promote agricultural development across the Nigerian states. And the end and the goal here is so that Nigeria can grow properly. Let us look at the facts and present our narrative. You see, for a country to become sustainable, that country must be able and willing and capable of feeding herself. The case of Nigeria is very, very painful, but it's also very peculiar. Painful in the sense that over the past years, what we have done is that we have failed as a people to utilize the resources and the capacity that are before us. We keep complaining about unemployment when the agricultural sector in Nigeria alone is capable of absorbing more than 40% of all Nigerians who are currently looking for a job in a blink of an eye within a couple of months. It is painful and shameful because we have depended so much on oil over these past years and forgotten how we got to become a fantastic nation in the first place. We didn't become an oil producing nation overnight. We became an oil producing nation sometimes in the 70s. But before then, what did we have? We have cocoa in the south. We had palm oil in the south. We have cocoa in the southwest. We have palm oil in the south and the southeast, and Gary and so on and so forth. We had granite, we had cotton, and the rest from the north. And so Nigeria as a country, first and foremost, started the processes of national development through agriculture. But you see, the greed, the criminality, the insanity, the inhumaneness of the political elite in this country destroyed that infrastructure. They destroyed it for their own selfish gain, not for the generality and the interests of the Nigerian people. And so what has happened over time is that as we have drifted into an economy that is predominantly political, into an economy that is predominantly oil, we've realized that we have cut loose the insanity of inequality. And so majority of Nigerians who ordinarily have been a part of the middle class have drifted into the poor ladder. And guess what? And majority of our wealth over the same period have moved towards the political class. And so something needed to happen. Something drastic needed to happen. Of course, it was not going to happen overnight. Of course, it was going to be something that would need to change the dynamics and the mindset of the Nigerian people. And so when the president came in, it was dedicated. President Muhammadu Buhari, Osibanjo, and the team were dedicated towards doing one thing and one thing only. What was that? They were dedicated towards creating an economy that can also pay the little man, can also pay the small man. And so they went aggressively into this agricultural revolution that we call it. They went and it was almost like it was a policy, if we want to call it a policy, but it was an approach that was directed at driving the Nigerian growth from what was within the confines of the Nigerian states. And that was where agriculture became prominent, became very, very important. Because look at it this way. The agricultural supply chain, the agricultural value chain, the agricultural structure is so large, it's so infinite, it's so natural, it's so clean, it's so pure, it's so unique that it is capable, and it has always been capable, of developing economies worldwide. You look at the American economy today, you look at the British economy today, you look at the European economy today, you look at the Asian economies today. Majority of those economies were economies that were developed through agriculture, not through technology, not through any other thing, but through agriculture. And so what the president did, and which was a very unique thing, and which was fantastic, and which a lot of people don't give him credit for, was to drive the Nigerian narrative and ask ourselves, let us begin to ask ourselves the questions. And the questions were explicitly simple. Why would a country with so much land, capable of feeding the whole of Africa and still exporting food, be hungry? Why would a country like this be complaining about unemployment? Why would a country like Nigeria be battling over so limited resources that we are struggling on how or where dollar will be made available for forex? And so they made a concerted effort towards doing what? Towards re-energizing the agricultural sector, towards refunding the agricultural structure, towards supporting the agricultural initiative. And so what was done, and what became very clear, was that we had a president who was interested in growing the economy in ways that no president has ever thought about in recent memory. But guess what? It also involves sacrifice. It also involves initiatives and processes and policies that will require that we begin to build a base that was never there in the first place. We begin to build a structure that never existed. We begin to build a system that had been neglected for way too long. And so the processes started from the approach towards making sure that we were rice sustainable, to approach towards making sure that through the CBN process you have the anchor borers program to support production in the agricultural sector. From the Ministry of Agriculture to the Ministry of Finance to the Central Bank of Nigeria to the presidency, efforts were made towards re-energizing this sector, whose interest, whose capacity, whose drive is capable of enforcing a system of real growth that can benefit the average Nigerian. Dear Nigerians, something is very, very clear. It has always been clear this has always been clear for a very long time. The politicians in the National Assembly and most of our state governors have no interest of the Nigerian people at heart. And that is why you see that somebody who has looted so much, he loots as a state governor, he's looting as a National Assembly member or a speaker or a senator. He is continuing to loot from state funds that are meant to pay the salary of people who ordinarily have not been paid for months. And so the insanity of the Nigerian political class will not go away if the people don't stand up. However, what was clear from the insight, from the foresight, from the approach of this thing was the fact that we needed to channel our energy, our approaches, and our direction into a system, into a structure, into a process that is capable of re-energizing, of realigning, of reformatting the Nigerian system to rechannel us towards developing our agricultural sector for the interest of the Nigerian people. Is it going to be easy? No. Is it going to take us a long time? Yes. Is it going to be something that is, if care is not taken, we might not get there? Absolutely. But something is, in all of this, we must be focused on what matters. And what matters is that you have someone in the presidency, there's someone in Aso Rock whose interest is not about himself, whose interest, above all things, is all about regrowing the middle class that has been lost to the criminality and the sanity of the Nigerian political class. And so, above all things, you need to begin to ask yourself, which investments, which programs, which projects are out there today in this country whose yielding capacity, whose rate of returns are better than those in the agricultural sector? Nothing. No business. You see, you read every day, and these are facts that you can verify anywhere you go to. 80,000 millionaires over the next 1 year, 250,000 millionaires over the next year. Most of them rice farmers. And you begin to understand the dynamics of what the president has been trying to do for a long time, that a lot of us are not keen into, because we are so fixated on the miracle mentality that has continued to fail our people, that has only actually promoted two class of Nigerians: the politicians, as well as the men of God, whether they're in the churches or they're in the mosque, because these two class of people feed on the gullibility of the Nigerians. And so what they have succeeded in doing is to create for themselves a continuing loop of sustained, brainwashed, and ideological mindsets that is determined to frustrate the Nigerian to always give to them without always having anything for themselves. But that has got to change. Agriculture is the pathway to a sustained development of the Nigerian economy. You see, what it does, it empowers everybody. I am saying this and I'm going to put it out to you, most of you who are interested in changing the Nigerian state and changing the Nigerian mentality. That over time, we have always asked ourselves a question, and the question is this: how many times do we go on the street and protest and demonstrate? How many times do we wake up and say, look, we want to change the Nigerian system? But we have been having difficulties because we have an entrenched process, an entrenched political class whose only interest is to destroy our state, to destroy our future, and to destroy that which is capable of providing for the common man. But that can change. That can change for the better. That can change for good if we, as a people, are determined to change and create a narrative that is fulfilling, a narrative that is driven by our understanding of the situation, and a narrative that can empower the average Nigerians to become self-sustainable, and so that the 1,000 naira they give to you during the election, the 2,000 naira they put on your table, the quarter bag of rice that is given to you for those who are big boys in political circle, for those who are world leaders, the 10,000, the 20,000, or whatever amount of money they are giving to you, you are capable of shunning that support if you are able to empower yourself. And that is exactly where agriculture comes in. Because if there are 1 million Nigerian farmers, 1 million Nigerian farmers who are capable, who are ready and willing to tap into the agricultural initiative of this government, I assure you that there will be 10 million homes that will be fed. There will be more than 20 million support businesses that would be generated as a result of that 1 million Nigerian farmers. And not just that, you have a country where the prices of goods will be low. You have a country where sources and processes of production will be enhanced. You have a country where the government will have the ability and the interest to support those who cannot support themselves. But above all things, and most importantly, you're going to have a country where the people will be so empowered to speak for themselves, speak with a voice, speak with an insight, speak with a foresight that is capable of driving all of us and every one of us into a path of independent mindedness, where we look at the politician in the eye and tell them, enough is enough. Amumu, don't do, you are an idiot. Specifically, you look at them and tell them, anything you are giving to me is useless to me, because my farm is providing for me, because the system is providing for me, because the processes that we have initiated are making this easier for me. And so you and every one of us must be willing and able to get ready to drive this initiative, because the initiative does one thing to you: it empowers you. The agricultural initiative empowers you. It doesn't empower any politician. You see, when you go to the farm and you put tools to the ground, when you till, when you plant, when you harvest, it empowers you. It empowers your family. It empowers your immediate structure. It provides for you. And this is something that must begin to resonate. It must resonate because our future right now is in a state where if we continue on this path, we're going to be destroyed from within. We're already being destroyed from within. And the reason we can be destroyed from within is when we give us our independence. Our independence to be able to say, yes, I can farm. Yes, I can be involved in agriculture. Yes, I can feed my family. Yes, I can feed my home. Yes, I can feed my state. Yes, I can support in feeding my country. And yes, we can earn and generate a lot of revenue from the sales of agricultural products. Because look, the jobs you seek, the white-collar jobs you seek, are mostly not available. Because before they become available, government is going to have to spend a lot of money to create the opportunities. And guess what? The money is not readily available because our past looted our present. And if the present continue to be so indifferent to the struggle of the ordinary Nigerian, this present will destroy the future. So we already have an idea of what the future will look like before we get there. We don't need any prophets or any man of God to tell you the future is going to be bad. And so I put it to every Nigerian out there today that the point is this: for us to become an independent populace, a populace that is defiantly ready and capable to look at politicians in the eye and tell them, you are fired. We must, every one of us must be ready to be engaged in the agricultural revolution. We must be ready to look ourselves in the eyes. We must be ready to be honest to ourselves and tell ourselves that, look, the old ways of miracle expectation, of gullibility, of sustained infatuation with the unreasonable, the hammer ideology, the hammer philosophy must end. Like I said, A president might not be that much of a fantastic politician. Of course, you have seen that in the recent days and with the debacle in the Senate. But something is very clear. His interest and his desire to fix the Nigerian state and empower the common Nigerian is second to none. We believe this. You believe this. It is time for us to get to work. Join us at the Nigerian Farmers Group and Cooperative Society and become a farmer with pride. Thank you.